Hey, we're here. Happy Monday. All right, and welcome to the Tech Commute. I am very excited for this episode. You want to know why, Kanika? Because you're here. We
Thanks,
have
Stephen.
had no, absolutely. We've had a bunch of conversations. We've known each other for a little while. I consider you to be a mentor and a friend. You've given me so much information. You share so much with the community, but I don't know anything about Kanika Tolver, and we're going to find out today. So, without further ado, why don't you introduce yourself to the community?
Hey, everybody. My name is Kanika Tolver. I'm from the Washington, D.C. area. I spent over 19 years in the GovTech industry. A few things about me is I'm a wife, sneaker enthusiast, love sneakers. I would consider myself a cool geek, corporate rebel, and probably soon to be career dropout.
Oh, interesting. Okay,
Yeah,
little tease there.
just a
Um,
little, just a little bit.
did you mention author? Did you say published author? I feel like you neglected that part.
Yeah, I'm the CEO of Career Rehab, which is a online community that I've been building an academy where I focus in on helping people rehab their careers. So I started Career Rehab in 2020 when I first published my best-selling book, Career Rehab. And the book and the framework is really about helping people transition themselves into being brands instead of looking at themselves as an employee. And in that book, I have some amazing frameworks and best practices for dating jobs, which is something that people really love about the book. I also talk about how to negotiate their salaries, how to get the money, power, and respect, influenced by rap music, which is I'm a huge fan of, which has actually inspired majority of my tech career. But yeah, you can get the book on career. You can get the book Career Rehab on Amazon.
Which is where I found it. I actually listened to it on Audible, which was fantastic back when I was still working at like 5 in the morning. I would listen to it on my way to work. I remember like getting in the car, it's still dark. I'd put it on in the car and I would listen to it. And it was just so inspiring. And I mean, we've had these chats before about that. Where where did the idea well here before we even get into the book because I again I could talk to you the whole time about that. Where did your path in tech start? Like where did your like journey even begin?
Yeah, so my journey started back in a long time ago. I don't want to date myself here. Well, you guys already know I said I've been in tech for 19 years. So my career started in college when I went to to school for a bachelor's degree in computer technology.
Hmm.
So I went to a school here in Maryland called Bowie State University. It's a historically black college and university. I majored in computer technology with a specialization in internet technology because at the time I was just so fascinated by the web. As you could think like 20 years ago where the web was versus where it is
Oh
now,
yeah.
I was like e- excited about building websites, learning HTML, learning CSS, learning JavaScript, and just basically just figuring out like where's the web going to go and how could I incorporate this into my career. So that's kind of how it started.
Nice. How important in your journey, just kind of looking back, has been to be like a step ahead? Because you were wondering at the beginning of the web where it was going to be. So has that been something that's kind of driven you as far as like how you approach what you do next?
I'm always trying to stay 2 or 3 steps ahead of the forecasting trends. I knew that the internet was going to be something that was going to be big at the time. At the time, it wasn't a bunch of social media networks, but I did know that what I enjoyed about the internet at the time was, going on eBay.com and purchasing sneakers and purchasing stuff and purchasing like gear, purchasing nice clothes, and I would send my money order to to
Oh
the
wow.
seller. That's like old school. That's like way before PayPal, way before they incorporated PayPal, and I would purchase things on there, you know, online shopping. When I thought about what I would say one of the very first interfaces as far as like a chat bot would be like, AOL Instant Messenger. When I was growing up as a kid,
Yep.
we had dial up in my house, and I was on the internet talking to my friends, and I had like Crazy K was my username on so
Wait,
like
but how many Z's? How many Z's in crazy?
it was only one
It
Z.
was only
It was only one K. It was like Crazy K 0123. My
okay.
birthday is January
Yeah.
23. So I would spend a lot of time like on there, like, using Yahoo, Ask Jeeves, like using all of these different things that we would say would be like the old school way of how we see Chat GPT. But I would spend a lot of time absorbing like how to use those technologies.
Mm.
And something about the web, I just knew the web was going to continuously advance.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I remember all those. I was an aim. I was an
I
aim
feel like I'm
guy.
like 56 years old or something like that.
You and I think are right around the same because I definitely relate. Also money orders. Wow.
Yeah, that was before they was accepting like PayPal and
Yeah.
other like online payment systems and things like that. And you
Oh
had to
yeah.
pray and hope that you get your stuff because you're sending this money order to
Yep.
Johnny and like, hey, am I gonna get my stuff?
Yeah, they didn't have the guarantees back then either. Okay, so we went to school. What was the first tech role? Like, what was your actual first role?
So my first role, I mean, just kind of to kind of go back a little bit. During the time I was in college, I actually was an intern for
Hmm.
the Department of Housing and Urban Development. So I worked in the Department of HUD as an intern all 4 years while I was in college.
Okay.
And that gave me a jump start on creating my resume, being able to be an office clerk, being able to kind of interface with technologies like, old school mainframe computer systems, and also like utilizing Microsoft Office at the time. And
Mm,
so I would go to school and I would take anywhere from 15 to 18 credits per semester, and I was still working like maybe, anywhere from 24 to 32 hours a week at this government job.
wow.
And that was wild, right? Like trying to do that and trying to also navigate learning everything in the computer science department. And then once I got out of college, I got my first job, and I left that federal government job, and I went to go work for Verizon, which was a corporate job
Hmm.
as a network control center. So I kind of went and got my first job in corporate, kind of more so in the telecommunications industry. I wasn't working at Verizon Wireless or at the store where you
Yeah.
picked up your phone or anything like that, but I was working in a network control center where they troubleshooted telecommunication problems and issues for customers. I stayed there for less than a year, and then I went back into the federal government, and that's where I got my full time role as a SaaS developer for the Department of Labor.
Wow. Quite the pivot from government intern back to corporate, back to government. What was that something that was always part of the plan, or were you just kind of taking opportunities as they came? Like, how did you approach that time in your life?
That's a really good question. So my goal was when I came out of the college, I wanted to make at the time what we think is so big about making 100,000 now. Back then, I wanted to make 50,000. Like that was just my goal. Like, and I wasn't going to get that being in the federal government space. You know, I knew that I had to go into private to go and get, if I was going to get 50, 60,000, which was 20 years ago,
Mm,
I said, I'm gonna have to make this jump. So I took the leap of faith, and I took that opportunity to get the salary that I wanted, and also to put Verizon on my resume, because at
mm,
the time Verizon was, you know, biggest
yeah. Oh,
telecommunications
yeah.
company in the world, and still it is to this day. So I was learning a lot of different things about the different technologies. They was talking about incorporated FiOS back then,
Wow.
and things like that. So for me, it really was like you follow me on Twitter, but I know everybody here doesn't follow me on Twitter. But I'm more like a basketball player. Sometimes you got to get traded to another team to win the championship. So I
Hmm.
always like to switch teams, and I always like to be traded, because in order for me to get more playing time, to get more money, I just knew I had to do something bigger and better if I was going to get, the salary that I wanted back in the tech space in GovTech.
I love that. And that's honestly kind of a perfect segue to your point in the book about dating the job. Is this sort of where maybe that started to evolve? Like I guess where did that mindset start for you?
Actually, my mindset started in 2014 when I had been working in the government for a period of time because was a SaaS developer. I left that role to take a role at the Department of Transportation to be a project manager.
Hmm.
And I stayed at that job for 5 years. I was at the Department of Transportation for 5 years. And it was a very, very great role for me because I evolved into being a project manager. And I was able to take on managing a lot of enterprise related solutions for that particular department. But I wasn't growing in the way that I wanted to grow. Like
Mm.
I wanted, I was in a situation where I had a couple different managers. Um, the work environment I wouldn't say was the healthiest work environment, even though I was growing and being put in position to be able to make six figures by 27. It wasn't the ideal environment that I seen for myself.
Mm.
So I decided to take 6 months to kind of like start reading these personal branding books. And I started to say, you know what, if I'm not happy here and I have like um, different goals that I want to accomplish, I need to take 6 months to a year to skill up. So what I did was I put my resume up online during the holiday break, and all these companies start coming at me. Deloitte, Booz Allen Hamilton, various different big Fortune 500,
Hmm.
I'll say big four consulting firms and Fortune 500
Yeah.
companies were reaching out to me. And I'm like, I never heard of these companies a day in my life. I'm so conditioned to be working for the government. So I took the leap of faith. And in 2014, I left my government job and I went to go work for Deloitte Consulting. And that's when dating jobs came into play
Mm.
because I'm like, all I have to do is put a profile up on LinkedIn or Indeed and I can get another job just like that. The job is friends with benefits at that point.
Oh, nice, nice. Well, I obviously I want people to go get your book. It's called Career Rehab. You can get it on Amazon. It's fantastic. They also have the audio version. But if you were to kind of maybe give us a little bit of the highlight reel of the area where people can start to sort of incorporate dating their job into how they're operating, like how would you sort of cliff notes that? I also just dated myself by saying cliff notes.
Oh yeah. So I used to read those too.
Yeah.
um, Especially when I didn't want to read certain books and I wanted to like
Oh
skip to
yeah.
the good
Now
part.
we have ChatGPT for it, so.
Exactly. It's kind of like these things. ChatGPT knew it was gonna come out because all of these other things were like what we needed before
That's right.
ChatGPT. um, we living in some times right now where jobs are dumping us before we have a chance to dump them. And that's why I think it's so important for us to have our LinkedIn profile and our resume up to date, to
Mm.
always consider like we are open for interviews. I look at job interviews like going on a date. Doesn't mean we go together real bad, but it just mean that we considering being open to opportunities. In the book, I really talk a little bit about like before we even get into dating jobs, we need to evaluate ourselves and we need to like do the career rehab diagnosis and truly understand where we are. Some of us are not ready for a new career relationship because we need
Mm.
to skill up. We need to get certifications. We need to build projects. We need to work on our job interview skills. Some of us are not ready to go on the date because we haven't officially worked on ourselves, building our confidence. So we need to figure out what do we need to gut out and what do we need to rebuild in order to put ourselves back on the job market. And that's kind of how I look at the dating market. There's certain things that some people want to do, whether that's lose weight, whether they want to take better pictures, whether they have different things that they're trying to get out of this new career relationship. Sometimes we got to position ourselves better for the career relationship before we just jump into a new career relationship.
Yeah, I love that. It's not you, job. It's me. that's that's so on point. So we're we're approaching the job market as it's changed very very differently now. Like when did you kind of see the shift, because there was a whole culture where people were staying at roles their entire career. Like when did that shift happen, and like was that something that you had always just sort of planned, or did you ever end up in a role where you were kind of like could see myself here for forever?
Um, I feel like sometimes those organizations and those companies come far and few and in
Mm,
between. And I think that I came to a place where I was dealing with so much career heartbreak.
mm,
It kind of made me want to be a career player.
mm.
If that make any sense, right?
Yeah, no, it
Like you go
does.
from company to company thinking that you're going to get this expectation out of this
Yeah,
employer. You think that you're going to get this benefit. You're going to get this training. You're going to work on the projects that are you're passionate about, that you love, and I think 10 years ago, job hopping was frowned upon.
yeah,
It
yeah,
was frowned upon because I mean, now it feels like it's the only way for you to be in survival mode. It's the only
mm,
way for you to figure out like how am I going to get more money? How am I going to build my skills? How am I going to find the job or the employer, the career relationship that is satisfying to me? And I got to a point where you know how in some rap songs they be like, "Oh, these girls ain't loyal." I was like, "These jobs ain't loyal." You know what I mean? I felt like I had to take back career control, and I had to stop allowing what companies were doing to me to make me feel sad, make me feel career sad. In the book, I talk about how we can become career sad sometimes. We can
yeah,
become stressed, anxious, and depressed because of what types of things that we've gone through corporate America. And when I saw my salary go from like a $40,000 pay increase in less than 12 months because I was getting certified, I was working on myself, and I was taking job interviews. I'm like, yeah, we're going to be a career player for a little while until we figure this thing out.
sure. No, I love that. Everybody's loving all the dating to job metaphors, but it makes sense. It makes sense. What in that time, especially in the like kind of career sadness area, like did you ever kind of hit that point where you thought you were burned out? Like what's burnout look like to Kanika?
If I had to be honest, I've never really shared this publicly, but I think that me being a type A person, it within my career, I think it did a little bit of damage the first decade
Mm,
because I think being an overachiever, you can lack other things in other areas that you should be focusing on.
mm,
So burnout for me started to look like affecting my sleep. I developed a autoimmune condition called Hashimoto's,
okay.
and
Yeah.
it's also affected, like it's associated with the thyroid condition.
Yeah.
But it's when you're under like extreme uh, tight deadlines and stress. And what it does is it affects your immune system. Basically, it's an
Yeah.
autoimmune condition where it makes you very fatigued, it makes you tired, and things like that. And if I had to go back in time, I would have said, you know what, you have to align your career brand and the things that you want out of your career with organizations that actually value work life balance.
Mm,
We're so busy chasing money and chasing these things, and this may kind of contradict what I said 5 minutes ago. But at the same time, I think that if we want to date jobs, we need to be in healthy relationships with jobs, right?
mm,
And we need to identify what healthy looks like for us. So I did have burnout. And I do think that there's something that we need to talk more about in the tech community because we're
yeah.
so focusing on six figures and money and certs and projects and getting new job offers. And it's okay if you need to take a break.
Sure.
It is okay. I did take a 1 year sabbatical in 2015 and I took some time off.
Yeah. I mean, understanding it and being self-aware is so important. Taking those steps back to kind of reassess too. Very, very big. Jordan dropped a question, and this is great. When do you know when to actually commit to a role for the long haul, or do you never stop dating the job?
That's a really good question. I think that there are times when you are going to be in long term relationships. You may even get engaged to a job, right? Because we will know it based off of past experiences, bad past career experiences.
Mm,
And I think one of the things that I feel like a good indicator would be is when you are growing, when you're excited to show up every day to your job, whether it's remote, whether it's in person, whether it's hybrid, when you feel like you're doing and working on projects and your skill sets are growing up against the industry trends, you know, it's like you don't want to be going with somebody who look like they dressed like they in the 1970s. You want to go with a job that look like they in 2025, or they're getting to that level
yeah,
of what's happening in 2025 with AI, with cloud and cyber, and with data science and things like that. I think that that's a good indicator. Getting compensated fairly and getting additional benefits that benefit you and your family is so important. You know, a lot of
oh
times I
yeah,
think we stay in relationships with people for all the wrong reasons because we want to be loyal, but we also need to challenge. And if we're getting that pay and we're getting those bonuses and we're getting those promotions, I think it's a great opportunity to stay. I think being in a long term relationship with a job where you're seeing growth, it's no different than being in a relationship with a person. If you're not growing and they're not growing, sometimes those relationships become stale. And when your career is no longer being stale and you're constantly refreshing yourself every 12 months, I say lock in and stay and enjoy the ride.
I love that. Lock in and stay. So, Kanika, right now, since you've made multiple different evolutions in your kind of job roles and um, even parts of the industry that you're in, like what does the ideal partner job look like for you? We've now
Well,
turned into a dating game, apparently.
I didn't know, Jason, this is what we were going to be doing, but here goes.
All right.
you know, I think what looks healthy to me is Job Allen. Go ahead and get that trademark. Some
Yeah.
you got the TM on there. um, for me, I'm at this very interesting place within my career and within my life that I'm in a reinvention stage.
Hmm.
I wouldn't call it a midlife crisis, but I would call it that. Um, I'm in this space where I only want to be associated with organizations in a new career relationship if they are evolving in the way that the world is evolving.
Hmm. What
You
does that
know,
look like to you? What does that mean if you can elaborate on that?
um, I'm a big fan of what's happening in AI, and I'm no
Yeah.
AI expert. I'm no AI expert, but I do think that I would love to see more organizations as we get into this era, this AI era. We're not even getting into it. We're in it. Like we're
Yeah.
in the midst of
Yeah.
it right now. I would love to see any organization that I'm associated with focus on automation,
Mm.
focus on identifying ways um, to modernize IT systems and processes in a way that looks healthy for the organization, for productivity, for saving time, for making our customers happy. I think customer first organizations. I know we talk a lot about AI first and mobile first and web first. Those are terms that we've used throughout various different like dispensations and times within
Mhm.
tech. I want to focus on building products and services for organizations that want to maybe generate revenue, but they also really want to focus on what is the customer needs and focusing on making sure that we are relying on good data to make good business decisions.
Mm.
We're not just churning and burning and just doing projects for the sake of doing projects, building systems for the sake of doing it. I'm at a point now I really want to do things in a business savvy way that makes
Yeah.
sense for customers and makes sense for the bottom line of the organization to be able to generate. And I want to work in an organization that lets me be like a little baby entrepreneur,
Mm.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. What it kind of elaborate on that a little bit? Like, what does that look like to you? Because I think that that's kind of a curious term because a lot of businesses, having that independent person kind of doing their own thing can maybe be a little frowned upon. So I guess I kind of want some context, like what that actually looks like to Kanika.
That's a great question. In the product space, because I'm really trying to like, I'm in this space where I want to really put my voice out there in product leadership,
Hmm.
and I want to see myself as a product leader that does it the right way. I've seen it
Mm.
done it wrong over and over
Sure.
again. And I think when you think about product and you're building products, or you're a product manager, or you're a product owner, or you work in product marketing, or maybe you work in product development and you're a developer, seeing your individual product that you're building or working on, allowing employers should allow employees to feel like they have some stake in the company, like to feel
Mm.
like, okay, just as much as this is the company's product, is your product too. And I think it will help us as employees if we want to venture out and build our own products. We can learn so much by looking at it as being a little baby CEO of our individual project or product. So when
Okay.
it's time for us to be, well, I'm already more so focused on having my own business. But if Jason wanted to have his own business, or he wanted to build his own SaaS product, him being empowered, I think companies should empower people to feel like, just as much as it's the company's product that they're trying to sell, when you're working on it, you should feel that way too, because you're going to show up and feel energized and excited, and you're
Mm.
going to feel like you're going to go all in for your customers.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I love that. We do have another question here. Oscar is asking, this is a long one too. I've been loyal to my company. Right now I'm 8 years in, but I do think I'm valued as a good salary and no complications. I feel like I'm slow dancing and not much is happening on this relation. I'm starting to get tired, but right now that market outside isn't easy. Almost 30, he's 35 years old. Is he sleeping on his prime years? Should he stay? I'm even considering a people leader role to get a challenge. So at his point, he's almost a decade. He's 35 years old. He's got quite a bit of experience. Do you think he's feeling plateaued? Like what would you kind of point him in this spot?
In the book, I talked about how like a cool geek um, is like in that. I mean, you could be a cool geek the entire duration of your career. But I feel like he's a corporate rebel at this point, because
Mm.
cool geeks are normally the people who come in out of college. They have maybe less than 7 years of experience. They maybe have like, less than 5 years of experience. I feel like when you get to like 8 years in a decade, you've been around the block enough to know kind of what you want and what you don't want. And I think he should lean into his heart, and he should figure out how to at least be open to, one, skilling up for those people related roles that he maybe is interested in.
Mm.
Go ahead and get that resume updated, get that LinkedIn profile updated, and just at least entertain recruiters are like the date matcher, right? Their job is to really come into our DMs and tell us, hey, I found a particular employer that may be a good fit for you going on a date with them, which is the job interview. I
Hmm.
think you will never know what's on the other side if you never try. He said he's slow dancing. He feels like he's slow dancing. Maybe it's time for you to dance a little faster, or maybe it's okay to stay where you at until we see that this storm passes over with what's happening right now in the economy. And we don't know how long that will last. But I
Mm.
always tell people, never be afraid to go on a job interview. You'd be surprised what you learn, because I'm going on job interviews to learn more about what I need to work on, but I'm also going on job interviews to build relationships with potential hiring managers, career panels, and recruiters. And whether the date goes any further, it's no harm. I'm not cheating. You know what I mean? We just talking.
So, in that context, who pays for dinner on the date?
That's
Oh,
a good question.
I stumped you there.
I would say that it all depends on me looking up the company profile. If the company profile is like a FANG company or a big company,
Yeah,
they're paying.
they're paying.
But I
Nice.
got to go on Glassdoor to check out their revenue for, what is their net worth. You
Yeah.
know, smaller startup companies, I got the bill.
I'll get this one. You mentioned cool geeks again, and you mentioned corporate rebel. Did you maybe want to talk about those terms a little bit more? Because I feel like there was at least one other one. Um,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
because those are my three alter egos. It's career dropout, corporate rebel, and cool geek. So the cool geek is the first area within my career where I came out of college. I got less than 5 years of experience. At this time, I'm staying in jobs no more than 2 to 4 years at a time. No more than 24 months to 4 years at a time. I kind of, when I'm coaching my clients, I say, you know, 24 months to maybe 3 years is a good enough time to get that first entry level experience, because you're
mhm.
going to start getting bored. You know what I mean? Unless they're really throwing a lot of challenges at you. And Cool Geek is really about you identifying your own intellectual swag. How do you want to be perceived? Building your personal brand. It's kind of like it's the first album of a rapper's career. You know what I mean? Like, you're
Yeah.
just trying to get yourself out there. You're trying to get your feet
Hmm.
wet. And if you know anything about rappers, they normally come out with an album within 2 years after the first album comes out, right?
Mm.
Because they don't want to get forgotten. Nobody wants to
Yeah.
forget about, like, Drake, Nicki, Wayne. You know what I mean? These new rappers, they constantly putting out more things for their portfolio.
Yeah.
Then they get to this era within their career where they're like, okay, I could be a corporate rebel. Like, I've got Grammys, my first album went platinum, I got certifications, I got an amazing resume, I got this experience. This is kind of somebody that's moving into like that, 4 to 7 years of experience. Now they got a little bit of, like, I like to call it like corporate clout, right? They
Yeah.
got a little bit of corporate clout. So now they can kind of like be on social media, not bragging, but feeling confident about themselves.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's when you see, like, a lot of rappers or artists, they start to shake up the industry with that second or third album, because they're no longer going with the flow. They've created this fan base, they created this brand. I feel like in corporate America, especially in tech, we all get to a point where we get tired of going with the flow with the industry standards, and we start creating and really finding our voice. And it's no different than a rapper. They really find their authentic voice, and that's why corporate rebels are, it shouldn't be a negative tone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rebels sound so negative. What you think?
Yeah. No, I definitely think that the typical connotation associated to that term does have a little bit of a negativity to it. Like a rebel is somebody that is opposing, and like fighting back, like being that, like, stick to the man type. But I think in this context, you want to be that rebel because it does have a positive vibe to it. So, oh, I totally agree with you. Which then leads us to the third phase.
Career dropout.
Yeah.
So career dropout is two meanings in the book. Career dropout is really like someone who wants to maybe do a career change. They may are leaving a career for a new career,
Mm,
right? Because a lot of people that read my book, they're trying to transition into a whole new industry.
sure.
So they have to drop the old career for the new career. A career dropout could be someone that's retiring from an industry, right? A career dropout could be someone that says, you know what, I want to go into full time entrepreneurship. I'm tired of side hustling. So in my book, I always talk about how go back to dating, bring it back home. I've always had this mindset that the career was the side chick or the side dude. I'm married to the dream, and the dream is career rehab, the book, the company, the community that I've built on X, the community that I built on LinkedIn. So somebody may say, you know what, I'm tired of side hustling. I'm ready to marry the business. I'm ready to marry the dream. And that's kind of where I'm at this point in my career
Mm.
is that the job, I always treated the job like, we just we here for a short time, but not a long time. But I'm gonna get what I can get out of this. But at the same time, I want to make sure that when I'm ready to marry the business and I'm ready to go full throttle, that's when I'm going to officially classify myself as a career dropout.
Oh, nice. I love that. I love all these. I feel like all these like dating metaphors are just totally resonating with everyone too. And they're like, "Oh my God, has my job been cheating on me? Like, what?" um,
So, or have you been cheating on your
yeah, or
job?
have
I
you been
mean, it can
cheating
go
on your
vice versa.
job?
Yeah.
That's
I
right.
mean, the reality is that when they every decision that we make within our career, and when companies make these decisions, we have to take the emotion out of the business aspect of things.
Mm,
It's so difficult to go through a layoff. It's so difficult to get rifted. It's so difficult to deal with an administration change. But there's so much value inside of the darkness of that.
mm.
And the value in the light is that you have to be the CEO of your career. You have to own it. You cannot put all ownership in the employer's hands.
Yeah, that's a dangerous game. That having all of it be on them, which again is controlling every facet of your happiness, your joy, your pain. To let somebody else do that is extremely dangerous. But how do you sort of separate that? Like, is it usually some sort of a really like crappy experience? Like, do you have to get fired? Do you have to have one of those like really traumatizing moments? Or how do you kind of suggest people, I guess, for all intents and purposes, wake up and reassess?
It's terrible. I want to say that I'm so saddened by the things that we witnessed in the last 3 to 4 years, where people have been laid off,
Mm,
people have lost their jobs, some people have given many decades to government jobs, and just so much going on. Right?
mhm,
I just want to first say that I sympathize with you. I may not completely understand everything that you're feeling and everything that you're going through, but I think that what I try to do for myself is I try to stay ahead of the game as much as I possibly can. I try to stay marketable. I try to treat my lifestyle like a 1 week sprint. So in the software development world, we have this thing called sprints. A sprint in the Scrum framework can be 1 to 4 weeks. I try to treat my life every week. What am I accomplishing for my career?
mm,
Did I complete a course? Did I complete a chapter in a book? Did I listen to a podcast show? Did I tune into Tech Commute? I want to continuously stay ahead of the game as much as I possibly can, even when I feel like I am behind.
mm,
Right? I feel like we need to develop the same way we develop shippable products and services for building applications and systems. We need to be shipping our skills once a week into something that's going to help us be more marketable, help us brand ourselves.
mm.
Um, I think we need to be very intentional about. It's difficult what I'm going to say, but keeping some boundaries on how our heart feels about our jobs.
Mm,
When I say this, I'm saying like sometimes we get a job that we love. Oh, I love this job. But I think we need to keep things in perspective and be like, Kanika, I know you love this job. I know you love working with Jason at this organization. I know you love traveling to different conferences and speaking. But you know, at any moment, if they have to make a decision, this is what it is. So keep reminding yourself, like, you being realistic, I guess. You know what I mean? Talking to yourself and saying, hey, in any moment this could possibly happen. But even when it happens, it crushes your soul, man.
Mm,
You know?
hmm. Yeah, it's hard. It's always hard, no matter how much you prepare. No matter how much you prepare, I think that there's still something that's taken from you,
It
whether
is.
it's a little or a lot. I
It
love,
breaks you in a different way.
yeah, KP dropped in here, Martin. Don't go into your week like an accident. Which, to your point, Kanika, you know, software development is planning. It's planning and implementation. So if we do that every day, if people are doing that every day at work, why are we not doing some of the similar processes at home for yourself? Um, and aligning those things. I love that. Well, how do you
That's a
do that
great
for
point.
yourself?
That's a great point. I always tell people that your most important product backlog is your life.
Mm,
The most important product backlog that you will ever have. You are the MVP. You are, the most valuable professional. In software development, we talk about it as being minimal viable product, right?
hmm.
But what if we thought our family, our life, our husband, our kids, our wife, our finances, our health, because our life is tech. Being a tech professional is just a percentage or just a small piece of that big
Yeah,
pie, right? I think we
yeah.
put so much energy into career, but we don't focus in on, okay, my product backlog has to look like, oh, he's out there jogging. I be seeing you jogging out there, you're getting out there, you're busting a sweat, you're hydrating yourself, you're networking, you're spending time with your loved ones. I think we need to like make sure that we are identifying this 2 week sprints work for us and what are we accomplishing that encompasses us holistically, like not just about the career thing, because that will control burnout, that will control having autoimmune conditions, that will control us expanding our network. Like we need to look at ourselves full circle instead of just so career driven, because that'll save us a lot of heartache and pain in other areas.
Mm, yeah, I love that. And I see your Twitter. You're getting all those certs. You're going down the AI road. So how is Kanika right now focusing on her whole self holistically?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. So there's a lot of things going on. Um, I'm in Washington D.C., so there's a
Mm,
lot of things going on as you guys see it. I see it. I witness it real time. I don't have any type of insider information that you don't have. So what I am doing to protect my peace and to also work on myself is I am really really focused in on um, advancing my prompts.
mm,
I took prompt engineering courses. I've been taking courses through product school. I've also been taking courses through datacamp.com.
mm,
I'm also just like becoming a sponge of all of these amazing free ebooks that have been dropped about prompt engineering and open AI. I'm trying to make sure that I don't get left behind as one of the OGs in this industry. I'm reinventing myself. I'm kind of altering how I see professional networking looks like for Kanika. So I am trying to hang out with new people, new faces,
mm.
if that makes sense,
No,
right?
that totally does. I mean, honestly, I just had a talk with Taylor about that. I mean, these Venn diagrams of tech, like these bubbles, it's all the same people. It's all the same people on Twitter. It's all the same people on LinkedIn. You have to kind of get out there and
I
see.
am challenging myself. So I would say to your conversation with him is spot on. Is spot on. If you're thinking about that, then you should consider acting on that.
Yeah, yeah.
For me, I've been doing this for so long. I told my husband and my mom, I said, I want to apply to conferences where no one knows who Kanika Tolver is. I want to attend conferences and be in the seat as an attendee where no one knows who Kanika is. And I want to absorb as much information from other people that I've never met and other people that I've never seen their content. And because I think that sometimes not only does our career need a refresh, but our professional network needs a refresh as well.
I like that. I still have the luxury of no one knowing me at conferences, so I can go to any of them. It's fantastic.
No, I didn't mean it like
No,
that. But yeah, I
no.
get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I mean, you kind of in that cool geek phase. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, and I'm loving it. So, I guess speaking on like the personal branding, because that's another huge component in the book, and kind of how you coach some of your mentees, or your, what do you call your people,
Career rehabbers.
career rehabbers.
Yeah.
Um, let's kind of look at my trajectory, since you and I have talked quite a bit extensively over the last couple of years. And if I'm in the cool geek phase, what would be advice you would give me now, just based on how you're seeing me branding and doing stuff? Like, what's something actionable that I should do?
Well, first I want to say you're doing an amazing job.
Well, thank you. I
I
did
think
not pay her to say that, but that
no,
she
no,
did that
no,
all
no,
her
no.
own.
You're killing it. You're crushing it. You were crushing it even before you landed your first role, and I think that that shows um the formula that you applied before you got the job. I think you should continue to do that, but 10x it.
Hmm.
And if there's like this book called 10x or whatever. I would This is how I would, if I was Jason, I would be very intentional about branding myself even more. And I said this earlier on X today, but I think some people that follow me, they're starting to get speaking engagements.
Mm,
Just start applying to more speaking engagements. It doesn't matter whether your friends are going to be there. Just keep applying and keep crafting your message. You know what I mean?
yeah.
That's so important. And I think also be very intentional about having a message that is going against what everyone else is saying.
Hmm.
Everybody else is, we're all saying the same thing on X. We're just saying
Yeah.
it five different ways. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
would say challenge content, do a content refresh on a regular basis.
Mm,
Number two, I'm sorry, I would say be very intentional about really showing what you've built since you got this job. What
mm.
have you built? Like, start bragging on yourself. Like, I would love to see every 6 months or every couple of months of you saying, as a community manager, these are my highlight of my accomplishments.
Oh, I like that.
I
I
would love to see.
actually, speaking of that, I do have something I built that I want to show you, but I
Oh,
can't.
let's do it.
We can't show. I can't show everybody, but some people have seen it. I do want to show you, because you were talking about it earlier too. I'm like, crap, I totally should show Kanika this, but yes,
Yeah, I would love to see that you continuously build the brand beyond you're virtual, right? You're a virtual
yeah,
employee.
yeah.
Yeah. So like for my folks that's listening and the folks that are online here, be a brand and build your brand beyond your cubicle. Be a brand and build your brand beyond your virtual office. You know what I mean? Well, and the last thing that I would say, number three, we talked about constantly putting yourself out there, expanding your professional network, networking with people that you've never met before. Number two, we definitely talked about you bragging on yourself, sharing your accomplishments, sharing the things that you're building. I would love to see you focus a little bit more on getting some forward thinking skill sets that you foresee is going to be the future.
Hmm.
I don't know what that looks like for you. For me, it's AI, product
Yeah.
management, and data. I would love for you, even as a community manager, because some people may say, "Oh man, Jason's a community manager. He don't need that. He don't need to learn that. He don't need." Nah, I think that if you're talking to other people that are in those areas of
Hmm.
technical arenas, I would love to see that you don't forget. Remember when you was coding and you was in that
Yeah.
using that program. I would love for you to continuously show us that you are still that developer dude that we met you on to X. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? What certifications? What trainings are you taking? I would love for you to share more of that.
Oh, I love that. I love that. That we've only got like 10 minutes left, and again, I have like 100 other questions that
Oh,
literally
go ahead.
just. But just I guess thinking about that when you mentioned like you don't know what my next looks like and you're kind of pursuing AI and stuff. How do you decide? Like there's so many different products in different areas of tech and shiny object syndrome is such a real thing. Like what helps you to sort of dial in on maybe one thing to focus on a little bit more than the other ones?
That's a great question. Because I feel like AI is like the drug that we all shouldn't have took in that back alley, you know? I feel like it's like everybody's talking about it, everybody's doing it,
Yeah.
everybody's learning
Yeah.
it, everybody's blogging about it, everybody's whatever. So I feel like I'm kind of hooked on that right now. I feel like AI encompasses something that is so powerful and important that it's a part of every domain within tech. I
Hmm.
feel like AI is going to be a part of data, cyber, project management, development, more all the ecosystems. Whether you're a part of the Microsoft, if you're drinking the Microsoft Kool Aid, you're going to be using it. ServiceNow Kool Aid, Salesforce, whatever. Everybody's incorporating their own AI agents. This is just my personal opinion.
Hmm.
I don't want to be a fan or an end user of AI. I need to know what's up under the hood.
Mm,
How can I
yeah.
be a true mechanic of my career and do my own oil changes if all I know how to do is just drop my car off and be like, yo, fix my car? So like I feel like I was so intentional about learning Chat GPT and DeepSeek and Copilot and Gemini, and I feel like I'm just clicking buttons. I need to know what's happening up under these buttons. I need to understand large language model. I need to understand natural language processing. I need to understand like deep learning, machine learning, and I don't look, y'all. I don't even know all the terminologies, and I don't know the definitions, so don't ask me. But what I'm saying is like I can't be a fan or a student of AI if I don't know really what how these things actually work. So my goal is to really focus in on that, and I feel like that's going to create more opportunities for me, and it's going to put
Mm,
me in a different competitive space than everybody that's out here just running around. You can vibe code, do whatever you want,
yeah.
but I need to know what's happening up under these tools.
Yeah. No, I definitely am the same way. And also, I do like all the tools. They make things a lot easier, but it makes it easier to use if you do know how they work. So, has your need for like that knowledge, like that deeper understanding of things, always driven and kind of shaped your career journey?
Yeah, I think going on job interviews and being able to have conversations with industry leaders, it shows me that I'm just more than just a product manager. Because
Mm,
you know, when you're in these non-technical roles like project manager, product manager, business analyst, people, it's they would call them tech adjacent,
yeah.
but I would challenge that if anyone that's in a non-technical role, I would see that the shift of what we're witnessing with this AI era is that this is going to open up a lot of opportunities for non-technical professionals because they're going to be able to leverage and utilize the same tools that a developer would
Mm,
use, right? It's
yeah.
just that the BA or the PM that goes above and beyond to understand how to build AI powered products and they understand the technical nuances of that, they will have an advantage over a regular project manager or BA.
Mm, yeah, that makes
I
sense.
feel like we're colliding a little bit, like
Yeah.
developers. Like, I mean, you'll find that there's business analysts and PMs that are vibe coding, right? Because they don't necessarily, first it was low code, now it's like no code. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Oh
You
yeah.
know what I mean? So we're
Yeah.
all going to be kind of like singing kumbaya together to some degree. But I feel like the people that go above and beyond and knows what's going on, they're going to have an advantage. And I feel like I just am just this is the most exciting era within my career
Awesome. Well,
out of
that's
20 years.
exciting. That's
Yeah,
exciting. That's
yeah. I feel like,
great.
and maybe because we're doing things faster and better. I don't
Mm. Well, I think we all love that for you. That's great. So what's I mean, and again, we're kind of coming up on the hour here, so I want to be mindful of your time. what's like the one thing that for all your career rehabbers you talk to, everybody you see online, like what's like the biggest thing people are just missing that gets them the job? They're like there's statistically there has to be like one thing that you've seen from
Hmm.
all the hundreds or the thousands of people that you've touched, like their resume sucks or they don't have enough of a portfolio presence. Like what is that one thing? And usually when they fix it, they're like, oh, there it is.
You'd be surprised that it's you can have somebody that has the amazing written resume, they have a project portfolio they've
Mm,
built in a training program, or they built their own projects on their own. But if you don't have that confidence to speak to a great LinkedIn profile, or to speak to a
mm,
great resume, or a great product that you built, a project that you built, excuse me, I just think that that's the missing piece of the puzzle for some people. It's not that they're not doing the work.
yeah,
It's not that people are not studying for certifications or they're not building projects. It's just that they're not showing up in a confident way to show employers and recruiters that they know it. And a lot of times these people, they know it.
yeah.
They're amazing at what they do. They're amazing at what they built. It's just that their confidence is lacking. So I would say, confidence gets you more currency, it gets you more coins. Because if you sometimes, I just think I want to see more people be able to build more better verbal communication skills.
Another sound bite. Another one. There it is.
I mean, it's that's just really
Yeah,
what it is. It's like, I'm not the smartest, y'all, but give me the mic and I'm gonna rock that thing. And I think that in my book, I talk about how job interviews are like showtime.
yeah.
And we look at a lot of celebrities. There's a lot of concerts happening right now this summer. You have Beyonce, you got Kendrick Lamar, you have a lot of people on tour. These people are practicing. They're
Ooh,
practicing. You got to show up.
yeah.
You got to show up and show out. And I think that that will really help you be able to tell the story for all the great things you've been doing in the background. But when it's time to get to the front of the stage, what are people going to remember you from?
There
You
you
know what
go.
I mean? I think that
Yeah,
that's it. Um, I mean, I've seen it time and time again, man. I be like, man, I get these pile of resumes, and I'm like, this is the one. This is the one. Get on video, get to the job interview. They're just lacking confidence. They're lacking that ability to articulate all the great things that they already did in practice.
mm. Yeah. Confidence is key. I mean, and again, that goes back to your dating analogy, just to bring it all back.
Yeah, I think you're so right. I think have back when you were young, you went on dates and you were
Oh yeah.
nervous.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that it just takes time for all of us to build up a level of confidence, that for us to feel comfortable of going on these dating or job interviews, to
Hmm.
feel good about ourselves.
Yeah. I love that. We look at that. We brought it all the way back around,
I
right at the
tried.
end here. I know. Look at that. We nailed it. Okay, last question. And again, thanks to the audience for hanging out with us. You guys can check out Kanika's website there. It has a bunch of information on her book, her speaking engagements, anything she has coming up. Twitter, another great resource. And then you can also check out her career rehab community, which is a community of people that are into the book, following that, sporting that. And again, you can check out the book on Amazon, which is also available right there. Kanika, last question. What does success look like to you?
Wow. You gotta stump me at the end, huh?
That's how I roll.
I truly believe that success is an inside job, and it's an evolution of who you are trying to become as an individual. And I do believe that success is something that you have to, I think a lot of times we want employers, we want sponsors, we want mentors, we want people to advocate for ourselves. But I think success looks like us advocating for our own self.
Mm,
You know what I mean? And
yeah.
really doing a deep dive and figuring out what is going to bring us happiness and joy. and willing to make those. Sometimes we got to make some hard decisions to make our life easier. And a lot of times it's difficult. And I think that's what success looks like to me. And I think that's an individual journey. And when you look into yourself and you figure out what you want and what you desire, and you are not looking over in Jason's lane or in Johnny's lane, and you're looking straight ahead at your destination, I believe that that's when career collisions don't happen and you get to your final destination and you are okay with even recalculating sometimes. You know,
Mhm.
sometimes you're going to get rerouted. Sometimes there's going to be an accident. But you don't allow those things to be clear setbacks for you. You continuously just be on your own personal GPS and you get there when you get there. And success is not driven off of duration or time, it's driven off of your own individual goals. And I think that that's what success looks like for me. It's just me following what Kanika wants.
I love that. That was I've heard 100 of those now because I asked that at the end of every
What's the
episode.
best?
That
What
was
are
one
the
of my
best?
favorites. That was definitely right up there. I can't even think of another one that's like that. Oh, I love that.
No, because people, what is your definition of success? What does success look like to Jason?
Oh, that's a fantastic question. I think for me, it's just at the end of the day, knowing I did everything I could to make the people around me happy.
Wow.
You know, like busting my butt up here in front of this computer to know that like my kids are safe for the night and you know what I mean? So
That's amazing.
yeah, that's it. I've heard so many of them like that. I've kind of really I reflect on that and I think about that. But we're the only people that can bring our own happiness. So
Yeah, and
we
I
are
think
the
that
architects.
I think sometimes we really try to. I thought making a lot of money in tech. I thought getting promotions. I thought building a community online. I thought all of these things were going to bring me, and it really no. It's an inside job,
Hmm.
and I just know that if I continue to evolve, I won't dissolve in the success that I'm trying to build for myself, and I'm not comparing that to anyone else's
Oh,
success.
I love that. We've got so many good clips from this. I'm so excited. This
You know,
this
I
was
was gonna bring the
fantastic.
sound bites. You know, I was gonna bring them.
Yeah, you know, I knew. I'm so glad you did too. You always do. Too many gems, exactly. Thank you again to everybody that was hanging out with us. I see Jeff and Sebastian and Matt Smith came in. Shout out to Matt Smith, Janet, everybody. Kanika, this was amazing. Do you have anything coming up that you want to shamelessly plug here at the end by any chance?
No, I want to first thank you for thinking of me and bringing me onto your platform. I've, you know, super support you. I gotta do some sneaker connection
Oh my
and bring
God,
some
yes.
sneakers. We do a whole episode on sneakers,
We
right?
should. We should do that. We
Yeah,
should.
that'd be really cool. So I have a Twitter space that's coming up this Wednesday at 7 p.m. and we're going to be talking about decoding data careers. So we have Kiera and Tanika. They're both data professionals. We're going to be talking about how you can, get into various different types of data related roles. I think data is something that we don't talk a lot in tech.
Hmm.
So if you want to attend that Twitter space, it's an audio room. You definitely can follow me online. I'll be sharing that, and that'll be taking place 7 p.m. this Wednesday. I'm also going to be thinking about building a community for product managers and project managers. Anybody that wants to
Mm.
get into the product space. So if you want to be a product rehabber, definitely, there's a link in my on my Twitter where you can join the mailing list and you can subscribe and be a part of that online community. And I just want to continue to just give anyone any level of encouragement. I really want you to be very intentional about spending your time wisely and turning your anxiety into accomplishments. This is some very anxious times, but I hope that you would continuously follow your dreams and your career goals and make sure that you dominate your depression by doing something that's going to be healthy for your nervous system and for your health and just for overall career happiness.
I love that. What a way to end. We're done. I want to end right there because you can't top that. That was a high note. We have more events this week. Everybody can go check out the newly revamped Community page. I just spent a whole hell of a lot of time working on that this weekend, so go
Okay.
check it out. We have a bunch of stuff going on, but yes, this was so great. We finally got to like this is our first official. We've done panels and talks in spaces and stuff, but this
Yeah.
was
This is
this
awesome.
was really cool. Yeah,
Thank
this
you
was
so
super
much.
fun. Thank you so much. Again, it was an honor and a pleasure. Everybody, the great Kanika Tolver. And remember, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. We will see you next time. Bye, everybody.